Hi everyone, we're back and we're joined by Healthtech-1. I'm Dr. Amar Ahmed, Windsor Health Centre.
I'm Dr. Fari Ahmed, also from Windsor Health Centre, and we've got with us Peter.
Hello. Peter, introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm Peter from Healthtech-1. I'm one of the co-founders and we've been working on making primary care a bit better. But yeah, I'm the head of product here, so thinking about what we build and what next we help with.
Brilliant. And tell us about Healthtech-1. What a cool name.
Yes, so it was a code name really, because we thought we'd just keep it plain, get working on the problem. But as we spoke to a few GPs, and actually my co-founders, mum and dad, they loved it. They own a GP practice, actually four in Stratford, East London.
Okay.
And they just said, yep, simple, easy, makes sense, don't need to find these. Oh, we went through the whole find a Greek goddess and find health gods exercise. And we settled on something very simple and catchy. So yeah.
Yeah, that's what it says on the tin, isn't it?
And a lot of our viewers are big fans of Accurix. So is there any link there?
You know what? Immediately when we started, yes, we were really inspired by Accurix, and when we saw they had delivered such incredible products that people are raving about, absolutely raving, got us really excited. That was about 2.5 years ago, and you know, zoom to today, and we actually have 4 team members from Accurix, some really good cookies. So we've got Lawrence, Mike, Sion, and Lydia, and they were early team members. Lawrence was one of the co-founders and CTO before. Lydia was employee number 2. Mike was employee number 10, and Sion early days as well.
And you still enjoy good relationships with Jacob and the gang at Accurix?
Oh yeah, totally. Like actually, we're in contact all the time, and we're just like kids on the block, all doing the same sort of thing. Very similarly minded. Like we're trying to just help in that sense.
Good.
Yeah. No. Very good relations.
Excellent. So you've got a product to show us, haven't you? A couple of products. So why don't you start?
Yeah, so some people may have heard of our registrations product. We're about 2 years into that. It's what we started with. Just after the COVID pandemic, Raj's mum and dad were like, come help us out. You know, registrations is a pain, help us increase our list size. We did it manually to start with. We did all registrations across 4 sites for 50,000 patients and felt the pain. One really simple one was we had to gather so much data after. Submit the form as if you're going to get over the phone and get them to fill out ethnicity and give you more details. So we built a first form, did thousands of forms manually, and then eventually built the automation system with all that knowledge. And essentially did that, made the process great, automated it. So now we have a product that automates about 95% of the work, and 5% of it is still manual, but as needed. You know, a child without a parent, that should not be automated, or someone that's changed gender recently should not be automated. But it's all under the ethos of one less task. So it's so intense, we realized, and humbly realized that admin staff drive so much of primary care. And it wasn't give them another tool, but that really didn't help enough. It was give them more time. And that's why we focused on automating the whole task as much as we can. So that's registrations. I can talk about that. Maybe you can prime me some questions.
Why don't you show? Have you got some screenshots or?
Yes, I do. So let me set this up.
So how does it vary from because the NHS have brought out a new form, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yes, they have. Yeah. So let me see. I might have to switch this on for the first time actually. So I'm going to type this in. So NHS England also have the same principle set, which is let's make the front door really accessible. But I think our insight goes deeper into practice, and that is that you should automate the other side of the task, not just land a form on the front desk, but land the form and also do the work, thus saving time. And that was our main bit. So I've got the slides up. So essentially I can go over quickly what the registrations product is, but really it's a digitization of the registration process that essentially every GP practice does. Here's that lovely team I talked about, mostly engineering and growth, like just keeping it simple in that regard. In terms of our work so far, we've done over 500,000 registrations. We're in over 650 practices, and so proud to say we've really automated and gave back so much more time, and practices love that. More time is always welcome. And how it works, so there's some fake data, Peter Huang, that's not my real details, but you've got the form, you've got the automation, and another key piece of this is coding. Like, we didn't like the free text form we used to have back in the day. It's really hard to SNOMED code, so our form is fully coded in that regard as much as we can, and then your searches are nicer, then you get your QoF points, we recognize that. And what you're seeing on screen is a really nice hub. So for that 5%, we don't just want to give you a printed PDF that you have to copy and paste, but we built a really nice hub that's easy to use. So stuff like copy, click to copy, nicely presented. We put some signals on the top right, which is like a QoF box, really. You know, you can do a bit more. So this patient has long-term conditions, let's already be a bit ahead. And also this is action panel. So you can also give us a bit more detail, such as the NHS number, if it's one of those like unsure about identity, and then we can continue our job, which is pretty cool because again, you don't have to do all of the job as well. You give us some information. And generally, we made a really nice form. I used to work at Monzo as a software engineer, and they made a really nice bank. It's a really nice experience as a bank, right? And we're essentially bringing that sort of energy to primary care. And when you work with 650 practices, you're right, you want some water? Bless you, Emma. I can continue. So yeah, get yourself some water there.
Yeah, no, I've had I've had whooping cough. I've been really ill actually.
Oh, you okay? Oh yeah, look up.
Better now. We'll go back to the Monzo bit in a second.
Okay, yeah, sounds good.
That's very important.
Yeah, you got a bit of a cough there. Oh, look after yourself.
Oh, antibiotics for 2 weeks. Right.
Let me kind of look through real quick.
Yeah.
We talked about security, so I can go over that as well.
Fine. There we go. No, that's fine. That's perfect. Thank you.
Oh, bless you, bless you.
Okay, you're going to go out on about Monzo.
All right, yeah, let's talk about that. All right, count me in when you're ready.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So yes, we essentially built that form and made it as usable as possible. I used to work at Monzo as a software engineer, building web experiences, and really inherited a lot of those things for our form. They built essentially a mobile bank that was really easy to use in an industry that's typically pretty archaic, and it just shows that it's possible. That was the thing that I thought I wanted to bring to primary care as well. So this is a form that gets a 9.8 satisfaction score. People complete it and the registration is done on the same day, as it should be, right? I couldn't believe some registrations for us were sitting in the front desk for weeks on end.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just made me really uncomfortable from a kind of technologist point of view. And after working with hundreds of practices, obviously there are different ways of doing things. So what we did is build configurability. So stuff like changing your boundary, adding a second max boundary as well, changing your question set, an up-to-date pharmacy nomination. So some practices are dispensing, some are not. Some surprisingly are on EPS and not on EPS as well. So I didn't know that. And another configuration point is being very personalized with our messaging. If you're a carer, you'll get that PDF. If you're smoking, you wanted advice, we send you a smoking cessation sort of advice link, and we code it so you get your QoF point or you achieve your targets. And veterans also get a veteran welcome pack. So it's all about personalizing things for this registration experience. What's this? I can skip over this, but essentially safeguarding was a big piece of this form. We thought about personas like children or fostered kids. So if a child is registered without a personal parental responsibility found on your system, so we'll try to look for the parent they've put on there and we can't find them, we're like, pass that over, please come and investigate. We look for social worker, fostering and school info. We want a next of kin for every patient, especially children, and also flag patients that were removed from your practice in the past. So
that's really useful.
Yeah, whether that be zero tolerance policy or you've been asked by the higher health authority to do so. This is all because we've just listened. This is what practices wanted, and we do, as you say, essentially. There's no better person to listen to. We had a translation recently. It's quite close to heart for me, but yeah, we cannot forget that improving access means languages as well. So we've made it really easy to translate, something we've done there. So there's also analytics. So I remember first doing registrations here. There were two numbers that helped us understand registrations: number of registrations in, number of registrations out. I just thought that's not good enough at all. So yeah, anyone that uses our products gets a huge analytics dashboard, so you can look at your intake.
Did you like find out why they've left or why they're leaving, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so there's definitely normal questions, but yes, we ask for what reason did you leave? For what reason are you joining as well? And these really help you tailor your service, right? If you understand. It's also quite interesting when you get didn't like previous GP as your majority answer, you kind of get a bit of intel about
absolutely where they're coming from.
Exactly. Yeah, I think patients should be given the option to join and rejoin a new practice. So if you make it easier to register, that's totally part of it as well. So yeah, NHS you mentioned earlier. So yes, there's an NHS England form. It doesn't have an automation, but we are the official automation provider with them. So you could use their national front door. You'll get listed on Find a GP. It'll be on the NHS app. They pass that form over to us, and we've built our system so that we can do it for you now. So this is us working with the NHS itself. So
is the NHS paying for all of that then, or?
I wish they'd pay for all things like this. They've left it in our hands, essentially, like me and you, practices and us, and they've essentially just made the PDF form. So I think they wanted to open access as their main priority. The sad thing for me is that often these policies don't have us in mind as practice staff, and the practice workflow or the actual time it takes, we're not really thought about in that sense. But access is much better, I have to say. So they've built a really nice form that makes it easy for people to register. Really good first steps.
Excellent. Okay.
And what's some stats on the service? It's essentially moving quick, so you don't have to spend time on your registrations anymore. What used to take 3 days on average with our practices now take 10 hours. And we're doing 1 in 10 registrations in the country right now.
Oh wow.
So yeah, really driving that. So yeah,
does it deal with the other stuff like bringing the notes across, or does it get involved in that?
Yeah, so registrations isn't just lifting some data and putting it into EMIS or System 1. There's a lot of workflow stuff. So that bit there, pulling GP to GP, we do that when it's there. Sometimes GP to GP is flaky, and it will take some time to come through, but we'll wait a short duration and then do it when we can. There's stuff like SCR, so updating SCR, data sharing stuff, adding next of kin, adding a patient warning, nominating your pharmacy. This is just the additional bits of a registration that isn't really spoken about, actually.
No.
So
I think a lot of practices don't even know about, some of the staff don't even know about that kind of stuff, and I think that's why some of them are in trouble. So it's interesting.
Yeah, exactly. I should talk about pricing. Do you think that's useful for your audience?
I think so. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, as you wish. So we essentially want to be based on something that's fair, flexible, and better and more effective. So than what? We start with the status quo. So this is status quo right now. If you didn't bring on any product, we thought, how long does it take to do a registration? About 15 minutes. That means you can do about 4 an hour. And then add on all your costs. So, that's NI, taxes, pension, tea and biscuits, training, whatever it may be. And we made that £15. So that's £3.75 per registration that's spent. And we're not really thinking about gaps in employment, sickness and problems with the work. training and handover.
And errors.
Errors, rejections, all that stuff, slowness sometimes. And we always want to be cheaper, more flexible, and a better contract. So £2 per registration is what we charge. There's actually no questions asked after that. So there's no starting fees, ending fees, training fees, no fees at all. No hidden costs. So all that text messaging, all that emailing to the patient, all incorporated. And no lock-ins. You could literally do one registration and leave us if you so wish, but we've had a really, like, we've next to zero practices leave us, so that's been a really good thing. If you can leave at any point in time, it means that we do the best job we can for you. So it really aligns us, and it means any work done we get paid for, otherwise it's nothing, which is also quite aligned as well.
Okay. Excellent.
That's the registrations product, really. I can give it a pause there, but it's just me and Raj looking into practice and noticing there's so much manual work for us to do, and just wanting to help and seeing that technology can solve this, because what we're using is not rocket science. It's what other industries have had for decades.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Finance has had it for a while.
Just catching up. Okay. And we've talked about price, but one of the big things we're increasingly asked about is security. And you know, are we allowed to use this? There's a lot of fear out there about products like this, and so reassure us.
Oh, yeah, sounds good. All right, let's do maybe this how to get onboarded describes it. So signing up is a quick link, but on that process we share with you all of our assurances, really. So this onboarding bit in the middle. So there's an onboarding form, tell us about your practice essentially. And then compliance docs. So that's clinical safety. We've completed DCB 0129. That's essentially assessing the clinical safety of deployed software. Technical term, but good job NHS England for like ensuring suppliers do this. From a security standpoint, we are cybersecurity plus accredited. That essentially means we've fit the national guidelines for good quality best practice of software development. And we had an audit. So an auditor came in, checked us, and then is able to give that badge. Another reassurance is accessibility and design. So our form has reached a really high quality of accessibility. And this means, you know, if you're visually impaired and you can't use the keyboard, you can only listen to the form because you're blind. You have problems seeing, you know, nuances in color. The form has been assessed to be a really high grade in that. So that as well. In terms of data and security, we're very hot on that. And yeah, we've got some.
Have you got all the ISOs? This is what they ask about. ISO 27000, and have you got all of that?
We've got the English versions of that. So that's the international standard. So that would map to what all these acronyms. DSPT is one. So Data Security Protection Toolkit. But also that Cybersecurity Plus I just referred to. That's like our interpreted English counterpart to ISO.
Have you got NHS DTAC?
Not at the moment, but we've got all the components. I think what's missing. So DTAC to me splits down into clinical safety, which we've got, data security, which we've got, and there's another piece around interoperability. I think it's one of the chunks, and we aren't a system to system. We help the interoperability puzzle. If you think about it, we connect a form and its data into another system. We could fill it out, but we haven't really been asked for it. Actually, we've worked with ICBs, deployed across like whole ICBs, and they're all right with it. So I'm not sure, maybe there's something happening with DTAC or something, but we've got all the component pieces basically. Good question. Yeah, you know your stuff there.
No, I just heard it on another webcast.
Did you?
So no, I'm blagging it. Okay, so that's your registration product, and it's quite easy to get hold of. You just go to your website, which is Healthtech-1.uk, right at the bottom there.
There you go.
And you can sign up for it there. Show us your other product, which is the robotic process automation product. There's a lot of these. There's a lot of these about now, aren't there? There's come across a few suppliers, but So tell us about yours. What's it called?
Yeah, so that's lab report filing, and
Okay.
actually this product here, registrations, is using RPA, robotic process automation, as a technology. So that's a method of pushing buttons on a clinical system. So we can use that to our advantage. Anything on EMIS or System 1 that we can do, RPA can do as well. So our first application of that was on registrations. Lab report filing. Hopefully you saw a switch in my
Yeah, got it here.
slide. Yeah,
Peter,
cool. Yeah.
RPA then. So are you saying that it's just a way to get round inadequate electronic patient records? That's what you're saying essentially.
You know what? To talk about that topic, RPA really is a sticking plaster across most systems. If you're using a robot to copy and paste, the old school RPA has a visual which is called like a swivel chair sort of analogy, which is the robot looks at this screen, it picks up or copies some data, it swivels in its chair, and it puts it down. And that's that really old school method, but it's what you need to connect up legacy systems. And I'm kind of sad to see that this is what we've resorted to.
Yeah.
But what's also good is that there are national APIs. That would be the really clean, slick new way of doing things. But there aren't APIs for everything. So for example, registration, there's no API for that. That's why it's always been done manually. So we quite innovatively just thought, we're not waiting for this API. We've got problems today. We're going to build the best. We're going to build the best RPA we can. So we've got a whole rigorous process.
How are you going to kind of where's your product going to be when we've got new APIs and open APIs and multi-web, multi-cloud solutions?
Yeah, we're like transitioning with it, I think. So the technology theme would be, we use what we can now to have impact for our healthcare workers. And as the system, renews, we're going to renew with it as well. So use RPA where you have to. When and if that registration API comes out, we'll use it happily. But it will take a few years for.
Are you involved in any new EPR providers at all?
We're not actually. No? So we consider.
See me after.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Because we might have a new one in a year's time, in less than a year's time, next 6 months' time. So we'll speak about that later. That's good to know.
Really exciting. I'm glad to see that others are really trying, because let's just say we've got a unique market in England for EPRs, and
absolutely,
it's kind of, I think,
and a duopoly.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah. So
okay.
Okay, so RPA, that was your question, right? So we're using RPA, but not just this dumb swivel chair. What we've done is we've kind of paired it with an API. So our API is where all the smart stuff happens. So a quick example for registrations is that we're not telling this RPA to identify the patient and match it to the spine. We've got an API that does a lot of kind of clever thinking, and then it tells the bot to do what's next. So think of the RPA as arms without sentient thought, but it will pick up data, send it to the API, which is the brain. A decision will come out, and then again it will be directed. So it's a bit more sophisticated than this old school pick data, swivel, plant down. So that's us using the best of both worlds, which is kind of cool.
And it's not a medical device at all.
No, it's following a very strict protocol and not making any kind of clinical diagnoses or progressing care in that sense. So
and just to clarify, this product has all the kind of governance and stamps of assurances that the registration product has.
Exactly, and I think that's the benefit of having one successful product in the market. So so if I can give a quick introduction to this.
Yeah.
This is all about doctor time now. So if registrations was about that admin staff that barely finds 20 minutes on the front desk to do that registration form, this is about the doctor late on a Friday at the end of clinic needing to finish their lab reports. And it came naturally through talking to lots of our customers. We had done registrations, sent out a survey, had conversations, and like, thanks for registrations, but what's next? Can you give me something else? My doctors are dying. and they're fatigued. Please help them out. So we started this project towards the end of last year, and we've made lots of quick progress. We're in a quite exciting space now, so I could go over that. Again, it's the team slide. We've done 500,000. So this is product 2. So hopefully we're not a one-hit wonder with our first album, and that we can prove that our second album also hits the charts. And one way of starting is, let's apply the same principles. So registrations, what did it do? It liberated time, it maintained that quality care, and it made patients very happy. Same principles here with lab report filing. So now we can save admin and clinicians time on filing their lab reports. We can save time through freeing up the phone lines. So again, my GPs would do their lab reports on the weekend, and that means Monday morning you get a surge of patients calling in, normal or abnormal. They're going to get curious and hog up the phone lines on Monday. So let's save that time and use a product that continually does this work, not on the weekends. Giving quality care. So we use guidelines for all of our clinical protocols. And this means our automation does it or it doesn't do it. It follows it fully, or it doesn't do it. It skips and moves on to the next one. And it should delight patients. And yes, if we get our blood test result or lab report back earlier with some info, that's just, I think, stellar. I think patient care, and it's quite personal to me because I remember waiting for a blood test result for my dad and tried to call in over the course of 2-3 weeks. The anxiety that builds up.
So frustrating.
Yeah, I think, and I don't blame, there's no one to blame really. It's the stress of the system. But why not get an automation to do it? It's quite a simple solution, right?
So by automation here, you mean sending out messages to patients that this blood test was okay?
That's right. So it would, think of the whole task of lab report filing and starting from very simple ones like COVID, which is what we started with.
So this has been an issue for a long time. I remember, even a decade ago, there was a solution whereby from EMIS you could text a patient this was normal and all the rest of it. But I don't know if it was text, I don't know what it was. But so how do you get around that bit? Because our ordering is still through ICE. There's no reconciliation about which tests have been done and which results have come back.
Yeah.
So how do you stop confusing patients?
Yeah, because you get you'll send off 7 tests, you'll get 4 back, and if you say your tests were normal and the 2 aren't, and we've ended up in issues with that before.
Yeah, so the way we've started is we've picked off a few tests at the moment in support that is supported by our product, and there aren't loads of messages going out, to be honest, at the moment, and we're quite specific. We'd say your vitamin test was normal, your vitamin D test was abnormal or insufficient, so we do that. But right now we're working on combined reports and combined messaging, so it's exactly that, right? If they come back in a 4-in-1 combined report, we're going to read all of them, and then we're going to build a text message that is 1 text message as opposed to 4 going out.
Okay.
So you're going to be able to tell which tests have been done on this patient and requested and reconcile those with the results coming back? So
yes, in the lab report inbox, you'll get loads of combined results. We can do all of those. Yeah. To be perfect with this though, we also need to generate blood tests.
Yes.
Which is an interesting area that we are exploring. So that's for your next episode, Emma.
Okay, no, absolutely.
Can I just add something else? The NHS app, because one of the things we're doing, again, trying to save time, is we tell people to use the NHS app for their results. So how do you fit this in with that?
Yes, we had this early feedback and we just gave choice to the practice. So turn off normal text messages was a feature we gave. It's interesting because that was often a resort given people wanted to save text messaging costs. Yeah. So at the very front door, they say, look, they set the expectation. We're not going to message you anyway. Yes. Please check the app. Please check the app. Please check the app. But I think in a best case scenario, a text message is fine. It's nice. It's progressive because I don't know. I haven't logged in my app for a very long time. We can't guarantee that, right?
We're making TikToks about getting patients to log into the NHS app.
Are you?
Yeah. And
Absolutely.
to be honest, looking like just a little bit further down the line, we're going to have to pay for texting costs.
Yeah.
So, but things that come through the NHS app, we don't. So we would be encouraging people to use it more.
And the messaging is going to be free within the NHS app as well.
So yeah,
Just something to think about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I've been asked for emailing as another thing.
Yes. Yeah.
And working with the NHS app is a national direction. So
Yeah.
we're not going to try and stray away from the national ship. I think it's a great idea. I think there is still digital exclusion. Like we cannot assume that everyone's going to be on the app.
Yeah.
We've done a really good job, but let's allow other methods, I think, for our patients.
Yeah.
So they're the principles, and I think we started off very strongly in that regard. It means that we're fully aligned on our general mission for that product. How it works, it's actually the same. So as the registration product, that is. So we log in to your clinical system remotely. So you don't have to set it up yourself or run it yourself on your own site. We do it remotely. And then we go over each item in the lab report inbox, and then we follow a decision tree that you would have approved up ahead of in advance. So here's a CRP example, and you get your clinical lead to essentially tick this off or not. So thank you, Amar, for looking through your clinical results. And you've picked ones you like, you picked ones you didn't. Honestly, they're all pretty standard, so pretty agreeable.
All very safe. There's no argument about the decision tree. Very clear cut.
Oh yeah, thank you. Dom, our in-house clinician, did all of that work. So
yeah,
good to have a clinician on this product as well.
Yeah.
And then just like in registrations, there's that hub, and you see all of your work. So on the right hand side, that's a pie chart for all your work done. There's an audit trail, etc. So that's how it works. So it logs in remotely, goes through the inbox, actually scans every hour or so. So imagine like we're logging in every hour, going through the inbox, doing a round, logging out and coming back. And we're trying to find our Goldilocks balance here, but it's very easy for us to turn that into 30-minute scans or whatnot. I really like the fact that it goes overnight, because you'll catch those late night labs that would send you over some of these already. And then what does it do now? So this is where we are now. So we've got early progress on this in the form of 24 live GP practices, and we're doing those reports on the left hand side. So normals, abnormals, some sexual health tests, and we've measured recently our average impact. It's about 20%. So with this page on the left hand side, 1 in 5 are being completed by us, and we're working hard on making that higher. I'll talk about that in a second. So those are the reports. I can probably share the decision trees at some point. Oh, maybe I can live show it.
Do you have one for cholesterol?
Yeah.
Yes. And working out cures.
There we go.
Yeah, so this is our cholesterol. This is all to kind of comprehend this. It's if everything's normal, file it as normal. That's the bottom right here. And we're working on going to the more complex category of these. So that will require us to look at the medication list, I think, and run a template like the QRIS template. But if it's something that you believe you can write down confidently into a tree like this, I think it's something you can work with us on, essentially. So this is a list of trees. I'll go back to the top. So we've got lots of normals. Some complexes is probably an area to focus on. So 2 that we're quite proud of.
Yeah.
So we've done HbA1c and FBC. We're working on abnormal thyroid in the next few weeks. And essentially, how do we complete it? It's not just filing. There are some things in there. So this is an action list which describes all the capabilities the bot can do. So just imagination hats on it. It'll read the report. It'll read a problem list. It will read the previous result. Then it will understand all of that information. So interpret it, essentially run it through a clinical protocol. Then it will inform the patient. So it will send a text message of the outcome, and it will save a copy of the notes or of the text message in your consultations, a bit like Accurates essentially.
Yeah.
it'll add SNOMED codes, it'll file with a comment. So I think a good example is HbA1c. So come in, we'll read the problem list. Are they diabetic? Are they pre-diabetic coded? Are they normal? Let's say, and then we'll look at the previous result. And then based on the new outcome, we may add a SNOMED code. So if they're normal beforehand, they've entered the pre-diabetic range, we would send them a text message with that national guidance and support, and we'll add a SNOMED code for NDH pre-diabetic, and then we'll file it away. So we were seeing doctors doing this and admin staff doing this, and we thought, if it's the same protocol every single time, let us do it.
And I'm sure you saw variability in how they handled it, and actually quite a lot of errors as well.
Yeah.
So this is really good.
Yeah, so it's happening, and I think over the past few months we've realised, wow, this can really be impactful for our doctors. So feeling very positive about this. The final bit is analytics. So Emma, I think you just looked at your dashboard, but you can see, you know, lab reports over time, which lab report types are there, normal, abnormals as well. Are we building that chart? Anyway, this is something new. Like for the first time ever, we've got analytics. Something we're doing in general for all practices that join is just give them a free report. I think it's just nice. We have the technology to crunch their lab report inbox, their archive inbox, and for the first time they see this data. I think we deserve that. I think in primary care at the minimum.
So I'm gonna present the analytics to our staff tomorrow, just to prove that we are actually taking away some of the workload.
I know sometimes I feel like nothing, it's not easing off, but yeah.
I
think it should be good.
So this the analytics dashboard started, was that last week or?
Oh no, it's been around for a while.
I think okay, I only just discovered it last week. Okay.
We should do a bigger sing and dance about these things actually. And
I think so.
Yeah, I think one thing that's apparent is that if this product's really successful, it just does it silently in the background. It's weird. We don't really shout about it, but I think we may do something like an end of month email or say, look, this is your month. We saved 4 hours. Just wanted to let you know, because otherwise it's a silent product.
It would be silent if it was free.
Yes, that's the other way we know about it.
How much is it, Peter?
Oh yeah, let's talk about that. Can I talk about the future very quickly?
Yes.
So yes, so the future, this is some like discovery areas that we're looking at. But if I were to zoom into the far future, our ambition is to save a clinic a week. So to be able to save 4 hours of time back, use that how you wish, right? Go on holiday, send your, do another clinic, up to you. But how do we get or what? Oh god, yeah, I didn't want to fill that gap, but yeah, it's I mean, to flip that on its head, I don't think we're getting doctors anytime soon. There aren't many products that are really saving GP time, and this means a lot to us, I think. And Raj's dad is a doctor, so he's so ready for this. He's been ready for decades. 10, 20 years. So this is the future that gets us to that vision of a clinic a week time saving. We're doing all safe normals right now, advanced renal, culture, smear tests. We've done sexual health screening. We essentially visited a university practice, and my goodness, they get so many. Lots of tests. I can't comment on the outcomes, but lots of diagnostics. And invalid samples, thyroid, abnormal lipids, as you mentioned, and LFTs, which we're working on. But to complete those reports and get us into the probably 50% impact range, we'll need to be more capable as a product. And those capabilities are calculating a CURIS score. For smears, it's adding a diary entry. If we're doing abnormal thyroid, let's look at the medication list. I'll skip to the bottom. Requesting prescriptions, like could we request, not issue, but could we already do the first part of the admin task?
Have you looked into that at all yet?
Not at the moment, no. So
I think you're going to come across a lot of blockers from secondary care, because a lot of them are still using ICE, and some of them are even using the old ICE, which is reliant on Internet Explorer. Obsolete.
Oh, you mean requesting blood tests? Yeah, exactly. So it's an area we'll have to explore, but Yeah, how many blood tests do you estimate you do, like each year or each month?
It's only now we're looking into it, so I'm going to hopefully have those figures in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, but I mean, I know the reports come back, so we're usually doing more than 1,000 a week, aren't we?
Yeah, but that's because they'll come under my name.
They do.
So it's the problem.
Do you request lots of tests?
I do not. They just come in under my name because everyone's. It's just the default on the computer system.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, gotta manage your test request. You're sending people many tests.
Yeah.
That's another thing.
We have lots of trainees as well, so they like their blood tests.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think testing's disappearing. And yeah, very quickly, combine reports, set your own ranges, and combine messaging. So emphasis on set your own ranges. As we go into more lab report types, and we get more doctors and GPs on board, let's give some more customization. So
local guidance as well. Yeah. Absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, the lab ranges are not enough for our day-to-day work, and that is something we should configure.
Fine.
Cool. Pricing. So yeah, that was a long way to go to pricing. Same as registrations in terms of its principles. So we looked at how much it costs you now. So how long does it take to do a lab report? We looked at a minute's worth of admin time and a minute's worth of clinical time. And that's just trying to find one number that covers all types of lab reports. And all fully loaded cost is 25p for admin staff and £1.08 for a salaried GP.
Is that including that? Oh, sorry, this is before. Sorry, yeah. Okay.
Well, yeah. So this is before. So including NI, pension, training, lunch if you provide it, or tea and biscuits. Everything.
The NHS, no lunch here.
No lunch. We thought we have to be, again, same principles: cheaper, more flexible, better. So we charge on a per lab report basis. So to keep it simple, for every lab report we complete, it's 20p. And same principles as registrations in that there's no setup fee, training fee, or license fees. Again, it's all inclusive of everything. You can start and stop when you want. So again, you could do one lab report, say, I'm not happy. I want to say no questions asked, but I'll definitely ask why. Can I help? Can I learn a bit more? Because we're a learning team. But yeah, it's 20p per lab report. Practice managers or finance managers even would think, oh no, if you do all my labs, it's gonna like balloon. Is there going to be a crazy cost? So I put this line in here, which is if we did 200 labs a day, which is quite a high theoretical maximum for a practice, I think, and we did all of them, absolutely all, that's £40 a day to do full lab report coverage, which is a theoretical max we can't touch, right? For we can't do X-rays, for example. So that's how we thought about it. Again, we're in early pilot stage really for this product and ramping up now. So I think so far this has been taken well, but as we grow, we'll see how it goes. But fairness is embedded in this. Like, we want to only ask for something if we've done the work for it.
Brilliant. Well, I can say that we've been using it and been looking at the analytics, and it certainly seems to be making a difference to my workload. I just need to make sure that the rest of the gang are also feeling the benefits.
Yeah, I think they probably said it's like about 10%. So maybe that's why I'm not. But I think it's useful to see some of the analytics, and I think some of our thing was, I think we were probably a little cautious, and we picked a couple of pathways, and then when we're happy with that, then we've moved on to adding more. So yeah, I think you're right. Potentially, we spend a lot of time looking at some of these, and if you can give doctors that time back, I think that would be brilliant.
Yeah. Excellent. So thanks for developing it, Anna. And you spoke about a few things there that you're going to look towards doing. Where can you see health tech going in the future?
Oh, really big question. We are primary care, passionates, I think. So, being in a GP practice ourselves, we see lots of tasks every single day that are just mundane and really difficult when we're understaffed. So I've got my eyes on anything in the practice. It could be medication requests, document inboxes, recall, So I'm actually currently looking at where we go into next.
Yeah.
But ultimately, we're going to use the same principles. Like it's got to, help the practice, help the patient, maintain quality care.
Isn't the logical conclusion to what you're saying and going isn't that just a new EPR?
I think everyone wants to build an EPR. I can see that future. It's not an impossible future, but I guess we've got a lot of work to do before we get there. What I do believe in is that the future EPR is workflow oriented. In other words, it helps us do work. It's not just here's a patient, that's it. Here's a cough box, go get that done. You want a blood test, create it yourself. Like it needs to be much more action oriented.
Yeah.
And if you think about our products, they're very workflow oriented. Like if you saw the hub earlier on, it was here's a button, give us an NHS number, we'll do the rest, right? Or sign up to our product and we'll do the rest. Set up your clinical protocols, we'll do the rest. So we're a very workflow oriented company because we know that saving time is just what we need. So we're not going to get too excitable about building an XEPR, but I think we're maybe one baby step towards that. It's a mammoth task. I give lots of respect to anyone that's trying to build an EPR. I also worry about the market dynamics, like EMIS and System 1 are incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's going to pan out, but yeah, maybe.
Brilliant.
If I could flip the earlier question to both of you, where do you think we should go? So you've used our products, our team, we're able to build things, but what are you excited to?
I think one of the key strengths that you've got is you go out to the practices and you are taking real life problems and solving them. It's all very well, as you said, NHS England developing a form that theoretically makes registration easier. But you've actually gone out and seen actually it's not just the form, it's all the work surrounding it to make the patient experience better and also make the admin staff experience better as well. So I think that's going to be the future really to make sure it's anchored in real life experience.
So you want a list? Docman processing, like tasks, annual review recalls, prescription requests that we can't bulk sign. Those are like the veins.
Bulk signing.
It does. Does not.
Do you know how long we waited for that?
We waited
years.
You're finishing patient. Sorry.
Sorry, no, just saying the bulk prescribing. It's coming, here it is, and big fanfare.
And then just little things, just
rubbish.
Put it in the thing. So those are just like some of the like things immediately I thought of when you said that.
Yeah, I think we're in a good position to do that as well, and we'll stay close to the problem. So trust that I will literally do document management for a good few weeks before we build the best product in it. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. If you ever need a practice to come up to check out, let us know. Sign all the data agreements. We'll be happy to have you.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, thank you. Oh, how much fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Peter, thank you so much. Keep up the great work. Give our regards to the rest of the team, and do keep us posted on your latest products and developments. We'll happy to come back and speak to you again.
Oh, sounds great. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you both.